The Alien franchise thrives on its horror and action roots. The universe has grown significantly over the years, with some okay releases through both film and video games. Developer Tindalos Interactive opts to take an ambitious approach with releasing Aliens Dark Descent. Instead of a straightforward action game, they're attempting to tell a new Aliens narrative through real-time strategy. Whatever your feelings are about this move, I believe the team has succeeded in crafting a well-rounded experience for players to test their strategic capabilities across some rather unique gameplay systems, all while under the threat of being hunted across every moment of gameplay. Before we get into the review, we'd like to thank our Patreon supporters for making this possible. Please take a second to check out patreon.com/noisypixel to support independent game journalism. Alien Dark Descent opens in a way that sparks a series of questions to be answered throughout the game. Players assume the role of Administrator Hayes, who attempts to always do things by the book. After finding a discrepancy in a recent cargo shipment, she takes it upon herself to search the cargo bay, only to discover something alien has escaped. Her eagerness to follow protocol is never questioned after these events, as she does a rather unspeakable act that leads to future moments of dramatic interactions. While this opening scenario is an homage to classic alien horror and tension, that all changes when the Colonial Marines save her and take her aboard the Otago. She assumes a high-level command of the ship, with the first mission to broadcast an alert to the higher-ups and hopefully be saved. Well, it's not entirely that straightforward, but every mission is connected to progressing the story, so you rarely feel like you're just out there in the field doing busy work. The entire story carries some movie-like qualities, while the actions of the crew become more impulsive and desperate as they deal with the surrounding alien threat. This is escalated by Hayes not being entirely honest with the crew and having to deal with possibly not following orders to do what's right. There's a standout supporting cast that grows on you throughout the story, and I was pleasantly surprised by just how much time was put into making these characters' relationships, struggles, and personalities shine in these moments. However, this doesn't entirely translate to the actual Colonial Marines that make up your 4 to 5 person squad. The game does its best to make them have unique traits, including negative ones, alongside levels of stress and individual skills. However, they don't affect the core narrative, so you never get to see them interact or grow attached to them. Instead, my only real attachment was to their level, and that's all I really cared about. This is only a point I bring up because there's permadeath here, and I was more upset losing my level 8 Marine than whatever their name was. As you utilize the Marines in the field, they gain level, which opens up paths of classes. Depending on what kind of crew you're trying to put together, you can focus on support skills or ones that alter characters' core traits. Given the randomness of skill upgrades provided upon each promotion, it's a decent system. Before a mission, a lot of preparation goes into the loadout, checking in on injured or exhausted Marines, and overall planning for the day's next deployment. However, on the Otago, you'll have access to other sectors that require various materials found in the field. The base grows over time, given that it's possible to add new workers to it. These individuals can be rescued while on a mission or randomly join following a unique event during the passing of a day. As the administrator of the ship, you'll need to manage the crew's request. If you progress to the next day, a unique event will occur where you must respond, sometimes with a negative outcome. It gives the campaign a sense of randomness that I wasn't expecting, but enjoyed the immersive situations to make me feel like I was making the most difficult choices to keep the crew alive. Regardless of all this, gameplay takes on a very unique blend of action and real-time strategy. After selecting a mission and drop-off point, you're pretty much free to explore the various maps. The camera rests at an isometric view to give a look at the battlefield and highlight any strategic opportunities. The crew moves together, but instructions and tasks can be divided amongst them. At the same time, this isn't a significant feature in the beginning missions. Once you gain access to new weapons, actions, and abilities, it's possible to get a lot out of it when building a stronghold against incoming hordes, or to cover your tracks in case you're being followed. Still, I wouldn't say this is on the level of perhaps an XCOM game. The soldiers will do their best to hide and listen to orders, but if spotted, they will simply fire at the incoming threat. This allows you to make more split-second decisions because the action is just so fast. Once spotted, the aliens come rushing. As a result, the noise draws in other aliens, so it's always best to just not be spotted. This does lead to some tense moments when you have to hide your crew behind a desk and can see the motion of a lurking alien moving just feet in front of you. The tone shifts when human enemies come into play, as it seems their inclusion acts as a means to change up your strategic approach. These enemies are not smart and generally just annoying to fight against, especially when they just walk around in groups. Still, the variety of enemy types builds up to some genuine sci-fi moments of storytelling as the antagonist is revealed. However, when out on a mission, the best approach is just to avoid all combat, but that's not always easy. More powerful enemies also dwell within the evacuated areas, such as the Queen. Like enemies, she rushes in quick, demanding players think of a plan ahead of time to stop her. I didn't like this approach, given that it's already too late if you're attempting to build up your defenses after she is revealed, and you'll likely lose a few crew members because of it. The challenge of the game rises over the passing days as the aliens become more acclimated to the areas, increasing the difficulty of even the simplest of missions. Managing that difficulty was mirrored by the growing skills of my crew, but you will lose someone eventually. While on a mission, crew members need to manage their stress and wounds. It's possible for them to get struck or knocked out, requiring you to carry the fallen soldier. If they die, well, that's it. You can pick up some dropped experience and say goodbye to your friend. Thankfully, there is a very generous save system that saves multiple states periodically, allowing you to go back and make different choices. This was extremely helpful during boss encounters where you can see their attack patterns, die, and then just load from outside the encounter. However, this does affect the weight of the permadeath, since if a soldier dies, you can just reload. The way these systems play out comes down to the difficulty chosen when you start a game, which can't be changed during the campaign. Still, a story mode difficulty allows players to experience a low action version just to get some of this great alien lore. Graphically, I think Aliens Dark Descent sets an excellent tone for the experience. The maps are sometimes massive, encouraging exploration at the cost of losing resources but gaining new research material to aid future missions. I didn't like that each time the crew moved, they yelled out something, which I couldn't just turn off, but there's some quality voice acting and narrative beats throughout the core campaign. I did encounter a few bugs and even a game crash while playing. These graphical oddities were strange but didn't actually affect my experience. However, I did encounter a bug that wouldn't allow me to interact with a mission marker, and I had to load to the previous day and get through all the missions again, but I was able to interact with the object upon returning. Aliens Dark Descent doesn't overly complicate itself with deep simulation strategy combat. Instead, it finds a perfect balance of action, horror, and strategy to be accessible to all fans of the series. The narrative is the biggest highlight, fueled by clashing personalities, double-crossing, and a high-stakes conclusion. The player is made to feel like they're commanding these troops, and that is found throughout each mission and choice made during dialogue. If you've been eager to immerse yourself in the world of Aliens, well, look no further. NoiseyPixel is giving Aliens Dark Descent an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. NoiseyPixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
NoiseyPixel.